Hello everyone, welcome back. Hope you are getting a good start off to your new year. Today I just want to kind of talk about Aquaman 2 closing out the DCEU. And it's been a while since I've talked about some DC stuff. I've been talking a lot about Rebel Moon because it's just been a lot of hype and excitement over that and a lot of other, a lot of stuff to talk about in terms of that. But if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe if you enjoy this content, if you enjoy my video before you leave today. And thank you guys for all your continued support on the channel as well. So Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, I did watch it. I hadn't done a review for it. I didn't feel like there was a whole lot to say about it, to be honest. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't great. It was kind of just fine. I think I still enjoyed the first one a lot more. It was way more consistent as far as tone is concerned. The second one, it suffered from a lot of different things that the Flash, similar to the Flash situation, just regime changes, several delays, reshoots, changing things, all of that kind of stuff. The tone was all over the place. There were things to like about it as well. I didn't hate it. I don't think it wasn't as consistent and strong as the first one. It wasn't originally intended to be the closing or the end of the DC Extended Universe, as we have come to call it, but that's what it is now. They did not go out with a bang, let's put it that way, but there were things to like about it that kind of reminded me about what I enjoyed about the first one. I just don't think it was as great as the first one was. And I really wish we could have seen what Ben Affleck filmed for the movie, because we found out a long time ago that he was on set to film scenes for it. Maybe one day we'll find out, not that it's going to matter, but just to know. I wonder how he would have been involved. Would it have been a credit scene? Would he have been involved in the events of the movie? I don't know, but I still would have liked to have seen that, especially since we know this is the end of this universe that we've had over the past decade. I'm not going to rehash the past and what happened and whatnot, because we all know and we've talked about that for years, but I do want to take a look at the original slate that was announced way back in, 2014. So of course we got Man of Steel in 2013. Then in 2016, we got BVS and Suicide Squad, David Ayer's Suicide Squad, obviously. 2017, Wonder Woman, and this is funny because on the original slate, it said Justice League Part 1. Okay? Then in 2018, we were supposed to get The Flash, Aquaman, and there was also an untitled DC film listed there. 2019 had Shazam listed, Justice League Part 2, another untitled DC film, and in 2020 we were supposed to have Cyborg and the Green Lantern Corps. Now obviously that turned out very, very different. And I think when they released this slate, there was a lot of hype and excitement. At Comic-Con, when they had released this slate, I do believe the Flash movie had been, there was one point when it was called Flashpoint, and I think that really generated a lot of excitement as well. There were some elements of that included in the Flash movie, but I wouldn't say it was a complete Flashpoint story compared to the animated movie. This only goes up to 2020, but a lot of these movies were delayed. We definitely did not get Justice League Part 2. We barely got Justice League Part 1 because, Zack Snyder's Justice League, that's, the definitive Justice League Part 1. And there are 2 untitled films listed here, so I wonder what those would have been. Maybe could have been the Batman movie that would have been Ben Affleck's movie, maybe, or another film, maybe another sequel to something, a different character, I'm not sure. Now that this universe is officially done, and what it ended up being, this, in my opinion, would have been a much more successful, all-around, much better universe, in my opinion. Sure, it would have been more financially successful. Fans, I think, would have enjoyed a lot more of the films compared to just having some standouts. And I think it would have been a lot more consistent. Had they just maybe stayed the course, I think it would have definitely paid off in the end. They got off to a great start financially, even though they want to, try to say they didn't. I'm thankful for Zack's trilogy and, the first Wonder Woman film, the first Aquaman movie. I think those, for me, are the standouts that we got during this, decade of movies. But, probably another one on there would have been, a Superman sequel, I'm sure. Maybe one of the untitled films. I think even though they announced a reboot for DC, having Aquaman 2 kind of just have just this abrupt ending to the universe, even though it didn't turn out the way we originally expected it to, I still think that it would have been more satisfying to have some kind of proper closing to the universe that we did get, instead of just ending it with this, movie that they inherited that wasn't even the new leadership's movie. Had they just done some kind of tied it up, closed it off, paid respect to all of the cast members that we've had these past several years, the main Justice League members, closed it up and had a proper ending, I think that would have been more satisfying to fans. I think fans would have been more engaged and interested in the movies that they did release this year, because clearly a lot of people were just checked out and not really interested because they announced a reboot so quickly. I know that they didn't make those movies from the beginning, but they did have input because they inherited them along the way. Even if they weren't as invested in them as leaders because they weren't there from the beginning, they still should have cared about how they was going to impact those movies coming out this year. Because I don't think we've ever had like 4 DC movies come out in a year. That should have been a lot more exciting for fans, having that many DC movies come out in 1 year. It should have been more, successful for the studio, but it just wasn't. So I think announcing that reboot so early on definitely had an effect. Whether or not people are okay with having a reboot, I don't think matters. I don't think that's the point. Like, there are people who don't mind that they're rebooting, and that's fine. That's totally fine. Like, this universe is over. That's what it is. It is what it is. There's people that just are like, okay, I'm fine with a reboot, but why am I going to care about the movies coming out not this year anymore? In 2023, we're in a new year now. Got to remind myself of that. But all those movies that came out, I think they could have been more exciting and for fans, or at least more interesting to fans to see in theaters. Because I think there's plenty of people that have watched the movies that came out in 2023, but a lot of people didn't go see them in theaters. People might have been more interested to see how they were going to finish up the universe. That's my opinion. It is interesting to look back and see what the original plan was compared to how, kind of how it started versus how it's going type of thing. Time will tell how this new universe is going to pan out. I don't know if it's going to take off the way that they think it's going to, or the way they hope it's going to. Warner Brothers Discovery is not really in a good place right now from what, things that have been reported recently. Talks of, possibly another merger or some kind of acquisition or something like that with other studios. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I don't know if they have the interest. I don't know if they have interest from general audience and things like that. So we'll see. Time will tell. But, that is the end of the DC Extended Universe. It was definitely a roller coaster, especially for those of us fans that really, stayed in the loop about things. It was a roller coaster. But I am happy for the, the gems that we did get. I think those will always continue to be special to us fans. Yeah, just wanted to go ahead and talk about that since the DCEU has officially come to an end. It's been pretty crazy to see how everything has worked out over the past several years. We'll see what happens now moving forward. But thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for the continued support. I would like to cover this really cool, going back to Rebel Moon, this cool guide that Netflix created to kind of give some in-depth information about the main characters and the different worlds, as well as like tech and, weapons and things of that nature. So I would like to cover that on the channel because I read through it and I think it's really cool. It's like this beautiful, interactive graphic that they have created. And so I want to cover that on the channel. So if you're interested, stay tuned. And if you want to check out more Rebel Moon stuff, head over to my channel, and as well as the short section if you're interested. But thank you guys. We'll see you soon.